Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Second part, Asvab, mathematical knowledge. Part 2, baby. So 13 says, what is the mean of the numbers 17, 27, 52, 81, and 93? Remember, Asvab, you cannot use a calculator. Okay, you cannot have a calculator. So let's see. Let's see how this is going to work. So let's do mean means average, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to add up all these numbers. So we have to do 17 plus 27 plus 52 plus 81 plus 93. And we have to divide by how many we're adding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't forget my 1 on the 81. Okay, so the quickest way to add this, I think I'm going to go here and here because, so 27 plus 93. 7 plus 3 is 10. Carry the 1. That's 10 plus 2 is 12. So that's 120 there. And then if I do 17 plus 52, that's going to give me 69. And then if I add 81 here, that's going to give me 110, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have 201 plus 69. That's going to give me a 10, carry the 1. That's a 7 and a 2. So we have 270 divided by 5. 5 goes into 270. Now, I'm not guessing here. I'm looking at my multiple choice. I either have a 4 or a 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. So that just eliminated 2 of my options. And now I have a 50-50 chance. 5 minus 7 minus 5 is 2. Bring down the 1, 0. 4 times 5 gets me 20. C is my answer. Okay. So that's how you find the mean of numbers. Remember, mean is another word for average. All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, hello, you guys. Let's go to number 14. All right. So 14 says, what is the least positive integer value of x if y to the negative 2 equals 1 and that crazy stuff right there equals 1? Okay. So this crazy stuff means something, of course, always, right? So this negative, y to the negative 2, they told me was negative 1. So wherever I see a y to the negative 2, I'm going to plug in negative 1 there. So if I get negative 1 to the 5th power, right, and then to the x equals 1. Well, what's negative 1 to the 5th power? Put it in the chat if you know. What's negative 1 to the 5th power? I love it. Julian said, this mean seemed a lot harder in high school than, for some reason. It was terrible in high school, right? I felt the same way. So for here, we're going to say negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Remember, this 5th power means you have to write negative 1 5 times. You have to multiply it to itself 5 times. So a negative times a negative is a positive 1. And then we have times this negative 1 here. Okay, so that would get us a negative 1. Then we're going to times it by this negative 1. Okay, so this is going here. A negative times a negative is a positive 1, but then we have to times it by this negative 1. And a positive times a negative is a negative 1. Okay, now we have that to the x power equals to 1. Well, what power, right? What is the least? That's the key word there. What is the least positive integer that will cause it to be equal to 1? Put in the chat. What do you guys get for number 14? Do you get A, B, C, or D? Welcome in, you guys. We're doing Asvab math for those who just came. Well, the least positive integer is going to be A. Because if we put 2 here, remember, that's going to be -1 times -1. And then negative times negative gets us a 1. That's how we can get 1 equal to 1, by making the least positive, which is 2. Any questions on that one, you guys? Any questions before we move on? All right. Let's keep it going then. Number 15. What is the total value of the shape shown here? All right, so you do have to know your formulas, unfortunately, right? They do put some geometry formulas on here. Does anybody know the volume formula for a cylinder and a cone? If you do, type your answers in the chat. What is the formulas for volume? Because we're trying to find what is the total volume of the shape shown. The formula is going to be V equals pi r squared times h. That's for the cylinder. Okay. And then the volume for a cone is 1/3 times pi r squared h. This is for the cone. Okay. So now that we know that, now we have to look at our picture. Okay, if we're just focusing on this cylinder here, they give us a 6. Does anybody know what this 6 represents in this formula? Does anybody know? Okay, it represents the radius. Okay, so this 6 is the radius. It's called the radius. The radius is where you could put, it's from the center to any edge on the circle. Okay, so that's why this is called the radius. Here, they told us the entire height is 36 inches, but then for the cone, they said it's 12. So does anybody know how we can find the height of the cylinder only? What do we have to do with these two numbers? Hopefully you're saying subtract. And if we subtract these, we're going to get 2 and 0. So 20 is our height for this cylinder. And so now we can just plug in. So we're doing 6 squared times 20 times pi. Okay. Now over here, remember if the radius down here is 6, the radius up here also has to be 6. So that's why we're going to do 6 squared here. And the height for this cone is going to be 12. Okay, times 1/3 times pi. All right, so this is a squared. This means 6 times 6. So 6 times 6 gives us 36. And we still have to do times 20 pi. Again, we're going to get 36 times 12, but divided by the times the 1/3, okay? which really means we're going to divide. We could divide this by 3, or we could divide this by 3. You could pick one, okay? Whichever one's easier for your mind. I would say I would divide the 12 by 3. That's just easier for my mind. Actually, 3 divided by 36. Either one. You just got to pick and decide and go with it, okay? So if I'm going to do 3 into 36, 3 goes into 3, 1. And then 3 goes into 6, 2. So that's why this is going to cancel. And this will go to a 12. Okay? So now we would have 12 times 12. So V for the cone. Okay? 12 times 12 is going to give us 144 pi. All right? Now we still have this 36 times 20. But how I want you to look at this is you're doubling the 36, because that's really what times 2 anything. You're just doubling that number. So 36 doubled. If we just do that real quick. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. And then 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 is 72, right? And then you add the 0. So we would have 720 pi here. This is the annoying part. It's like, are they really going to make us do this? Okay. So if we're adding these two, right, we still don't have it with the pi, right? We still haven't done the 3.14 that we need to times it by. But let's just add these. So if we do 720 plus 144, we would get 4, 6, and 8. Okay, so this will be 864 pi is our total volume. Well, you like, hold up, that don't look like nothing of our answer. It doesn't. But what we really remember, pi is a number. Pi is equal to 3.14, and it keeps on going on forever. But we're just going to use that 314. So 864 times 314. Let's just do that real quick, okay? So 4 times 4 is 6. Carry the 1. 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. Carry the 2. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 2 is going to give us 34. We're moving over, so we have to put a place value here. Okay. And then 4 times 1 is going to give us 4. And then 4 times 6 is going to give us what? 6. 4. 1 times 8 is 8. Okay. 2 placeholders here. And then we're going to do 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. And then 3 times 6 is 18 plus 1. 9. Carry the 1. 3 times 8 is 24. Carry the 1 is 25. And then we're going to add. So, can you guys see okay? I don't know. Okay, yeah, you guys can see. So, 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 4 is 9. 6 plus 4 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. Carry the 1. And then 10 plus 10 plus 1 is going to be 21. Let me make sure I did that right. 9 plus 1 is 10. 8 plus 2 is 10. So that's 20. And then we got the extra 1. So 21. And then 5 plus 2 is 7. And we have a 2. So remember, it was 3.14. So we have to go to 2 decimal places over, because we have 2 numbers after the decimal. So you just count it over. So you move it over twice. That's why it's going here. And it looks like they rounded up. Because if we round this up here to the whole number, we're going to get this 2713. And B is going to be our answer. Whew. Right? That's one if we for sure are skipping if we only have a little bit of time. This eating up all your time right here, right? I mean, between this one and this one, this is a lot of these questions are time consumers. So if you're not quick on things like this, if you're not quick on like the basic ones, I would just say just skip it. Like, because the more you can get right, the higher your score will be, right? So if you know that these are giving you time consuming, like the ones that are supposed to be considered easy, if those are taking a lot of time for you, for sure don't waste your time on that, because that'll take up all your time on the test. I hope you understand that. Test taking strategy, okay? All right, let's go to number 16. Any questions? Any questions? All right, no questions? Let's keep it going then. So it says, what is 1/7% of 21 0? 210. All right, so what is 1/7% of? So what, we don't know. We're going to put an X. Is means equal. 1/7. Okay. Percent. So this is a percent of means times 210. Now, what we can do is, I'm trying to think what's the easiest way to do this. Because if I just multiply this, right? Let's say I just multiply this. Let's say I just say 1/7 times 210. Let's just do that, okay? Over 1. Well, 7 goes into 21. I know 3, and I have to keep the 0. So this would just give me 30. But remember, this is percent. So then if I want to change a percent from a decimal to a decimal, I have to divide by 100. Remember, that means I'm moving my decimal place over 2 places to the left. So that's how I get x equals 0.3. And C should be my answer. Any questions on that one? Any questions? Nope. All right. Let's keep it pushing then. All right. On to the next. Remember, there's 25 questions on the mathematical knowledge test for the Asvab, okay? All right. So let's go to number 17. So use the following figure for questions 17 and 18, okay? So is it close enough? Should I zoom in a little bit? Can you guys see it okay? Can you give me a thumbs up in the chat? If it's good, can you guys see it okay? Somebody put a thumbs up or a thumbs down if it's like get closer. Good. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Hall. Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's look at number 17. What are the coordinates for point B? Okay. Are you getting A, B, C, or D? Remember, coordinates, you guys, consist of an X, then a Y, okay? So if we're looking at this point B here, we have to go from the x-axis. And so you see how it's -4 here? And then on the y-axis, it will be -3. So if you said B was your answer, great job. And if you got it wrong, that's okay. Learn from, make the mistakes now, right? So that you don't make them on the test. Learn from them. All right, let's look at 18. What are the coordinates for point K? Okay, so let's look here. We have K here. Are you going with A, B, C, or D? We got the -3 on the Y, and the X is 2. Remember, X and Y, so B, again, is our answer. Good. Yes, Hall, yes. Okay, let's go to number 19. It says, in which quadrant would the coordinates -3, -4 be located? Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, or quadrant 4? Are you getting A, B, C, or D? What are you getting for number 19? And I'll try to put the graph in it as well, so you guys, that can probably help you. What is a quadrant? Thank you. That is a great question. So a quadrant, how you look at the quadrants is they're on a graph. So this is always quadrant 1. Okay, quadrant 1 is here where they're all positives. Quadrant 2, it goes counterclockwise. Okay, so this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, Q, right? Not O. And then this is quadrant 4. And you guys, these are Roman numeral numbers. That's why they're written like that. Okay. But if we're looking at a negative and a negative, negative and a negative so negative for the X's, negative for the Y's is always quadrant 3. So I'm glad you asked that. That's perfect question. Yes, great question. All right, let's go to number 20. So it says simplify. 4 parentheses 7 plus I. All right. Now we got to distribute here. Okay, whenever you have a number attached to a parenthesis, that means you got to distribute. Well, what distribute mean, right? It means you just got to multiply. So we're going to do 4 times 7, which is 28. Now I only see one thing with 28. I'm circling C and I'm moving on. They saved me time. They gave me love on this. But let me explain why it is C. 4 times I is going to be 4I. Remember, these are not like terms, so we cannot combine them. In order for them to be like terms, they both have to have an I on them. And since they don't, that's it. So beautiful. All right. Let's keep it going. Okay. Number 21. Are you getting A, B, C, or D? Thank you for the like. Okay. Smith said B. Beautiful. Yes, let's go. Okay. A negative divided by a negative is always a positive. And then 22 divided by 11, perfect. It's 2. Good. Now, if you are struggling with division, change your mind to think of multiplication. So you're thinking like 11 times what can get me that 22? Okay. That's how you're looking at it. Well, a positive times a negative gets me a negative. Okay. If you struggle with division. All right, let's go to number 22. If x squared equals 0.49, what is the value of x? Right? All right, so we have not seen this before. Both A and B. We haven't seen that on none of these problems that we have done, right? So that's a strong indicator. We might have to look at that. All right. Does anybody remember how to get rid of this power of 2? Does anybody remember what cancels out that power of 2? Yeah, it's because of the rules, Hall. They always be switching up. It's different between adding, multiplying. Good. Square root. Yes, we're going to square root. So we have to square root here and we have to square root. But what most people forget is whenever you square root a number, you have to put that plus and minus in front of it. And then the square root of this is what times itself gives you 0.49. Well, 0.7 does, because 0.7 times 0.7 gets you to, when you times it, 0.7 times 0.7 gets you 0.49. And that's why they say both A and B, because one is a positive 0.7 and the other has to be a negative 0.7. Any questions on that one? So whenever you do this square root, remember, you got to put that plus and minus. All right, good. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, so number 23. Solve the inequality using transformations. Okay, so we have this. Oh, okay. So we have this. Negative 13 minus 7 is greater than K. Okay. Now, if we look at our answer choices here, right? Mostly all of them have the K on the left side. So let's check it out. Well, if somebody borrowed $13 from you and they said, "Oh, can I get 7 more?" How much do they totally owe you? I need my 20 back. Right? So whenever you are adding two negatives, you add the numbers and the number just keeps on getting bigger negative. All right. Now, don't fall for this. This is not the same as this. Do you see how they flipped the sign here? So A is out. Okay. Well, let's write our K on this side. But when we write our K on this side, you got to remember, you got to flip this, because if the K is going on this side, you got to flip the direction. And now we're going to write negative 20 over here. So if you said B, beautiful. Any questions on that one? Thank you so much. Because of you, I passed my Asvab. Oh, thank you, Navy Princess, for letting me know. This is my second time going live over here. And so thank you. I'm going to keep on posting because I know it's making a difference. Congratulations. All right, let's go to 24, you guys. So write this crazy number, right, using scientific notation. All right. What scientific notation says is I have to have one whole number in front and then a decimal and then some numbers after it. Okay, that's what basically scientific notation says. It can't be no zero in front. Okay, you can't have a zero. You have to have an actual 1 and up digit. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this decimal. We're going to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, we got 16. So we're going to write 4 point, and then we continue with the rest of these. 9, 3, 2. Remember, we counted 16 spaces. Okay, now we say times 10. Okay, this is how you always write it in scientific notation. You have to have that times 10. Now, this is the tricky part. Okay. When you have the zeros in front, right? You have to have a negative 16. When the zeros are in front, you have a negative exponent. Because what this is saying is, really, when I undo this, like if I go backwards, then I'm going to the left 16 spaces. And that's how we get all these zeros in front. So A is our answer. This one is saying I'm moving it 16 places to the right. When you have a positive, you move it to the right 16 spaces. And this is utter nonsense. And this is really crazy. Because this is saying I have to multiply 4932 16 times. Like 4932, 49, no. Like, okay. Good. Stinson, welcome back. Sorry I was a little late. I was supposed to be on at 5, but I got off of TikTok late. So, but hey, Stinson. All right, let's look at number 25, you guys. So solve for x. We got x, 7, and 11. All right, what we doing? Do we have an A, a B, a C, or a D? Okay, Navy Princess said we got an A. Or was that for the last one? Or this one? What you guys get for this one? Okay, good. That was the last one? All right. I don't know about this one. Okay, Stinson. Okay, so let me see. Let's see. So whenever you're trying to find a missing side, this is another important formula for the Asvab, okay? It's called the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? Now, how you know which one is your C is the side that's opposite of the right angle. So this is always our C. And then we don't care which one's the A and B, but we have to care about which one's the C because the C is on the other side, okay? So I'm going to name this A and I'm going to name this B. So I'm trying to find, so this is x squared plus 7 is, B is 7 squared equals to 11 squared. All right. Remember, a squared means you're doing what times 7 times 7, right? So we're going to do 49. 11 times 11. Put it in the chat. What's 11 times 11? Yes, Navy Princess said longest side. 121. Let's go. Yes. 121. And these what I mean by these perfect squares, you guys. Have them memorized. I would really say all the way up to 25. And then, okay, we need this x squared by itself. So we have to move this positive to the other side. How we do that is taking the opposite. So we're going to subtract 49 to both sides. All right. I can't take away 1 from 9, so I got to borrow, right? Make this a 1, make this 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. I can't take away 1 from 4, so I have to borrow, make that 11. 11 minus 4, is that 7? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, 7. Ooh, okay. All right. So we got 72 here. All right. Remember, we just did something like this. Oh, my pen is dripping water. How do we get rid of this x squared? Oh, sorry, you guys. My baby threw my pen in the water, in the bathtub. So we're going to, if you're saying square root it. Now, the problem is when we square root this, right, we have to think of what times what gets you 72. 9 times 8 does. Okay. Well, I know it's going to be one of these decimals. Okay, so this one is kind of hard because it's like, how can we do it? This is not a perfect one, right? But I guess what we could do, let's just keep on going. So if this is 4 times 2, so we have 9 times 4 times 2, okay? Underneath the square root. The square root of 9 comes out as 3. The square root of 4 comes out as 2, because 2 times 2, we're looking for pairs. And then we would have this times 2, the square root of 2. And then this will be 6 square root 2, which is not helping us. Ugh. I'm trying to think of another way that we could do this. Let's see where square root 2 fits in between, huh? So if this, like, we have to do what times what, right? So this will be 16. No. 25. No. This is 36. This is 64. Which one is it closer to? I would go with D. I mean, that's just how I would rationalize it, you guys. I don't know if I would be wrong, but let me see. What is it actually? Does anybody know what this square root of 72 comes out to be? Let me see. I need a calculator. Yeah, this one is tricky. Yes, it is. I'm like, when you need a calculator, you can never find one, right? Oh, when you need one, you can't find one. Nope. I don't got one, y'all. But if I was going to take a guess, I would say D. It is D. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Israel. Yes, D. That's how I would rationalize it. Did you guys hear how I like spoke it out? I said, okay, this ain't helping me at all. So then I said, okay, well, what's closest to 72? Well, 6 times 6 is 36, and then 8 times 8 is 64. It gotta be D because that's the closest to my 72 without doing the half. Yep. Yes, you're so welcome. So this is the first test, you guys. I do have another one. I'm just start going live here on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7. So congratulations again, baby. And I wish the best of luck for the rest of you guys. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye.